They say that being a YouTuber is the luckiest job that you can have. Well, I'm here to tell you as a YouTuber, it is harder than your 9 to 5. That's a joke. I'm kidding. It's not harder than your 9 to 5. It's actually pretty sick. It's very cool. I'm very lucky to be in the position that I'm in, and it seems like these days a lot of people want to be a YouTuber, a social media influencer. Though I do hate that word, and I wish people would stop calling themselves influencers. It just sounds like they're trying to do some mind control. It actually is one of the top, in fact, the top dream of children is to be a social media influencer. According to a study of 1,700 children aged 7 to 12, 27% of them wanted to be YouTubers, and 17% wanted to be a next social media influencer, which I think is terrible, terrible mind rot. And we're gonna look at the other side of being a YouTuber, the more negative side, the more behind the scenes, the little bit of inside baseball. Today we're gonna find out maybe you don't want to be a YouTuber. And as a person that has been doing this since I left university, so about 6-7 years at this point, full time as my job, I think I have a little bit of insight. So let's have a look at it. What we got here.
But before you do, there's a lot you should know that really doesn't generally get brought up on this platform. This isn't universal. A lot of this is coming from my own personal experience. But after having been invested...
All right, so this is the person's channel. It looks like they're an anime channel, and it looks like they make a lot of One Piece videos. And honestly, it looks like they're kind of popping off. It looks like the videos, they get hundreds of thousands of views every single time. So they seem to they have a good head on their shoulders. They kind of know what's going on. Maybe this video will be about fighting against YouTube as a platform. Maybe it'll be about how it can be lonely sometimes being a YouTuber. I don't know exactly what it's about, but I thought the topic was interesting and I wanted to talk about it.
On this website for 6 or so years now, there are just some things I wish I knew first. For all of the wacky drama on YouTube, it's actually one of the most supportive globs of people that I've ever encountered. Any YouTuber you talk to will be highly encouraging. I mean, of course you should get involved because literally anyone can do it. It's very similar to the classic dream of say.
True. I think there is something quite humble about a lot of YouTubers where we all collectively understand how dumb and stupid we are. Just uploading Vimeo on the internet sometimes, play video game or do something else, do vlogs about your daily life. I think we all kind of have a little bit of self-awareness where what we do isn't super difficult. It can just be a little bit tedious sometimes, but we all know that we're not the smartest, the most talented, the most incredible people on the internet. We just want to kind of get into it. We all started because it was a passion of ours that we saw someone else do and we're like, oh man, I can do that. That's why I started. And we all kind of understand, yeah, anyone can do this.
They're becoming a big Hollywood actor, writer, director, whatever it is along those lines. Until you realize that all of your favorite actors are related to a producer who's related to a musical artist who's like the nephew of a record executive.
There's so much nepotism in Hollywood.
It's a very nepotistic industry to say the least.
Exactly,
YouTube actually is that dream because it technically has no barriers to entry. You don't need to be in a specific geographic location. You don't need to know someone to get...
It does help though. I will say, if you live in LA, it definitely helps, at least with the kind of content creators that I know. I know a ton of content creators that live in California, in LA, or at least in America. And if you live in the UK, it is substantially harder to interact with and collaborate with a lot of the bigger content creators that live in California or LA or something like that. Not to say that there's not other content creators they can collaborate with, but it definitely helps to know people.
Get your foot in the door, and you don't even need any professional quality gear or even professional skills. You just need either a really good idea, a solid grind set attitude, or both, ideally both. I honestly believe it is the most equal opportunity platform to have ever existed in human history. And the reason why I compared it...
That is true. The original tagline of YouTube was broadcast yourself, and you could literally upload anything that you want to platform. I think still that it is crazy that YouTube allows you to post as much as you want with no drawbacks at all for free. When you think about server costs, it must cost Google so much money to run YouTube and host videos that get 0 views, but take up hundreds and trillions of gigabytes on their servers for free. They have no views. They make no money off these videos at all. I mean, Google just has money to burn, but still, it's crazy how there's still no limit on what you can post.
To a classical Hollywood dream is because that dream is dead. A survey in 2017 found that 34% of all kids wanted to become YouTubers as a career. Meanwhile, a much more recent survey in 2022 saw that number skyrocket to an astonishing 75%, with around 30% of them
really
specifically gearing themselves towards becoming vloggers. For a career that didn't even exist a decade ago, go. That is pretty damn
I think that's the
loud.
Logan Paul, Jake Paul effect.
Maybe. But I attribute a huge part of that to what I said before. Just how encouraging YouTubers are that anyone can do this. But that's not really the whole story, and a whole ton of tips that you hear from people like, well, I guess me, tend to be coated with a healthy slathering of survivor bias, which is the tendency to concentrate on those who made it rather than those who did not.
For every YouTuber that has 1 million subscribers, for every YouTuber that has 100,000 subscribers, there is probably 10,000 people that tried to upload videos, got no views, and either quit or they're still going and they're still not doing very well right now.
I think that's
There's a lot of survivorship bias
in
in YouTube.
Did try and fail don't actually have a voice on this platform, which makes it real difficult to get their perspective. For example, my flagship channel just hit over 1 million subscribers, which is actually not as rare as you may think. In 2022, it's estimated that somewhere between 25 to 30,000 channels have over 1 million subscribers. However, when you put that into perspective,
oh, dude, that is so many. I need to get there. I'm not a real YouTuber, not a real YouTuberist until I can get 1 million subscribers. I need to get there.
YouTube also estimates that there are roughly 37 million channels on the platform. Not users, not viewers, just channels. Channels that are actually producing content. Which puts channels like mine in like the top 0.08%. And I don't say that to just like, statistically jerk myself off on camera. I mean, to be fair,
it is nice to do so.
Hot. But I say it more to highlight just how many unheard voices there really are. Despite being the most equal opportunity platform in human history, the odds are still pretty astronomically stacked against you if you want to make YouTube a career. And I think the vast majority of people fail for one very simple reason. The most common factor
I want to hear what this is. I am curious to hear what this is because I have my own ideas as to why a lot of people fail. I think a lot of people fail because they get so ingrained in the way that they want to do things, or they get ingrained in a way that they've seen someone else do things, and they don't adapt to change with times. They don't take advantage of all the things that are available to them. They just stay doing the same thing that is proven not to work. Like, for example, if you sit there and you're just going to start a gaming channel now and post Persona 5 Let's Play Part 1, it's not really going to blow up, is it?
Successful channels is pure obsession. You need to live and breathe your content. For example, I have this Luffy. I live it, I breathe it. That was creepy.
That was
may or may
a little
not
creepy, but kind of hot. Nice.
But whether it's anime, history, gaming, science, finance, beauty, like whatever, it honestly doesn't matter what the content is as much as it matters that you are absolutely obsessed with it. It could even be video making itself. Like, you might not be obsessed with the topic you're making a video on, but you're obsessed with the process of making the actual video. That's perfectly valid. The reason why you need to be obsessed though is because the bad times of video making are going to heavily outweigh the good times. For example, to make a Grand Line review video, I have to write a roughly 2,500 word script. And not only that, but I need to do that 4 days a week for that channel alone. Add a New World review and do it in a room, which I'm doing right now, then that means I'm writing at least one whole essay per day. And that gets hard. Often I
will say, as a person that doesn't write scripts, I feel like I'm so appreciative of myself that I didn't start YouTube writing scripts, because I hate writing scripts. And maybe you like writing scripts. Maybe that's the part of the video making process that you enjoy the most. But you kind of do have to be obsessed. He is right. You have to be obsessed with doing the thing that you're doing. I'm obsessed with making something that I think is funny. Every day when I make a video, I'm always thinking about the bit. What is a bit that I can do right now? How do I make this and turn it into something comedic or funny or just enjoyable to watch? It's all about the bit. I mean, a lot of the stuff I do is based around Pokemon, but I always try to find new bits for Pokemon. I always try and put new skits into it, think of new jokes, and just try to execute something really nicely just so it makes someone laugh. Because at the end of the day, if I can make someone laugh, that's what I'm really happy about. And that's what I'm obsessed with. And you have to be a little bit obsessed and a little bit of a weirdo. And you have to be a little bit of a narcissist to make YouTube videos, I think. You have to believe that you deserve to have time and eyes spent on you. Because at the end of the day, there are so many YouTubers on this platform. You have to believe personally that maybe you're not better than everyone else, but you're at least as good or worthy of people spending time in their life watching you. Which means you have to have that kind of self-confidence within yourself that you are making something that is worthy of someone else's limited time on the earth.
Just want to do anything else that isn't writing. But this is where obsession carries you pretty hard. Because I'm so arguably unnaturally invested in what I'm talking about, that passion outweighs the grind. And you can apply that to any part of the process. Like, say, editing. What you guys see on screen is like a fun 3-second effect. But what you don't see is like the hour and a bit that it took me to research and implement that effect while staring my hair out in frustration frustration until it actually...
This is why I don't edit anymore. All right, I edit air quotes, but I'm really thankful to have two fantastic editors on my main channel because I used to hate doing this stuff. I cannot keep focused on one thing at all. And he's right. When you edit one little section of a video, it can take like an hour to edit one little joke just to get it really perfect so that it hits just right. And it's so annoying because you have to go on the internet, you have to download the right picture file, then you have to add the picture file, and then you have to change the text, and oh, that doesn't look very good. Let me go find a different picture file and download that picture file. I couldn't download that picture file correctly. Is there something wrong with my Chrome? Troubleshoot Chrome. And it's just, ooh, I'm not a fan of editing anymore.
If I wasn't
editors are awesome. I love
what
editors.
I was talking about, I would have quit a long time ago. So on the bright side, YouTube is one career where having a crippling and potentially socially awkward obsession can really pay off. But if you just like something, or even worse, if you just like the idea of being a YouTuber, then you are almost certainly going. And even if you do succeed, there is a price to success. And by far the biggest price is time. Making even the simplest of videos when you're inexperienced takes a long time. However long you're thinking, triple it, quadruple it, maybe even do the other one, the one that's even more, the 5, it is quintuple. Do that, or maybe even
pentuple?
more. And then when you do know how to make videos, you start getting more ambitious, which just adds more time. And the people at the very top do have a much healthier work-life balance because they can afford to hire employees, which frees up time for some sort of social life. But that's not the
I still don't have one, even though I do have editors now. I took that time that I'm not editing and I just put it into making videos again. I just make bigger videos now. So I didn't really balance all that correctly, but it is true. I mean, it takes a long time to make a video, especially when you're doing everything by yourself. And I just started getting editors like in the last couple of years. And I've been on this platform for over 12 years and it's worth it. But if you don't have the resources to do so, it's going to be a lot harder for you.
Vast majority of YouTubers, that's not even me. And for those of you who are just beginning, it is going to be years and years on this journey before you can even think of the concept of hiring someone, which means that all of that time being put into the channel is just yours. And so if YouTube is your hobby, then sure, that's fine. You can afford to chuck in a little bit of time here and not a lot of time there. But if you have ideas of becoming more serious than that, then honestly, you should probably be prepared to just write off your social. To be clear, I'm not saying that you should do that. I'm saying that it's a bit of an inevitable cost. Especially,
he's kind of right here because if you want to do YouTube full time, it's likely that you're already either in school or you have a job, which means you're going to be working your job and then you have to come back and essentially work another job, whether it's that's streaming for hours and hours a day or making videos. If you're going to stream, I would recommend that you stream for less hours and make more YouTube shorts and TikToks and content out of the streams that you do. Basically just maximize your time and work smarter, not harder, because someone that comes home from a day at work and streams for 4 hours, while you can do that, if it makes you happy and that is what you want to do as a hobby, that's totally cool. But if you want to grow, that is not the way to do it.
When you're just starting, because you'll probably already have a full-time job to support all of the living that I hear you like to do. So when you get home from work, you won't have time to do anything that you want to because you will need to be making videos. And on weekends, mate, that is prime video making time. If you're not using those, then you're probably not posting videos because to post videos, you need to make videos, and to make videos, you need to use the time to make them. It's a lot. And again, even the really simple ones take a long time to make. For example, it can take anywhere from 12 to 24 hours to make a standard Grand Line review video. That includes research, writing,
it really depends on the channel and the content you make,
and whatever other production needs pop up. And that time cost is after having streamlined the process to what
So like he says it can take him like 12 hours to make a video. It depends what kind of video you're making. Like, you don't have to spend 12 hours on every video. You can make a quicker video, an easier video. And depending on how you make it, who you're collaborating with, what kind of video topic you have, it can pop off. I've seen a lot of channels come up from essentially nothing because they had a really good concept and a really good idea. This is more of a, what do you call it? A meteorocracy? What's that thing that you call it when if you're really good at something, you rise to prominence? It's like sports. If you're really good at something, then you rise to prominence based off the skill on your own back. That can definitely happen. In fact, that's what happens mostly on YouTube, especially if you have a concept that's really cool and it's just yours exclusively.
I think is currently its most efficient. It also doesn't necessarily get better when you do get to hire staff, like say editors. I have 2 editors for Grand Line Review who edit half the videos whilst I edit the other half. And I can't count the amount of times I've run into a situation where I've been invited out, because it happens sometimes for some reason. But I can't go because if I do go out, it means I won't have the time to have a project ready for one of my editors. So what am I meant to say in that situation? Sorry, Mr. Editor, but you're not getting paid this week because I wanted to have a fun night out. Or alternatively, I pay them regardless because it was my fault for not being prepared in time, and that night out ends up just costing me a disgusting amount. And I actually think that
I think that may be a little bit of an over-exaggeration that one night out can ruin an entire like week for a year. I mean, I guess it depends how you hire employees. Like I pay my editors based on the videos that they do. So when I have a video, I will send them a video, and I try to make sure that I always have videos to send them. Of course, that's not always going to be the case because I can't just always have videos. Sometimes the creative sparks aren't juicing. Sometimes it takes longer to record something. Like for the average hardcore Nuzlocke that I do in Scarlet and Violet, I'll record that over maybe like 5 to 7, maybe 8 or 9 days. So it can take that long to put everything together and send it off to the editor. So I guess it depends, really.
Mr. Beast is a great example to bring up here. I often sing his praises for just having taken control of this platform with increasingly brilliant ideas, but that guy has no life outside of video making. He lives in his studio and just spends 24/7
I've listened to a lot of Mr. Beast talking on podcasts and things like that. He does nothing. He sleeps and eats and lives at his studio. He eats and breathes YouTube constantly. All he thinks about is making videos, and that's all he does.
Every month or so is the result of weeks and months of just non-stop obsessive work. And if that's not a lifestyle that appeals to you, then maybe aiming to be a YouTuber isn't the greatest of ideas. Because every bit of sweet success you taste is going to make you more and more willing to give that much more of your life away. And that's to say nothing of the literal years of time investment that you may need to put in before anything starts paying off. I mention this a lot, but it's never been more relevant than it is now. I was making videos for 3 years before I saw a single cent. Not that everything is about money, but look, eventually you do need to find a way to sustain your obsessive activities.
I remember the first paycheck I got from YouTube years and years and years ago. I remember thinking to myself, wow, this is incredible. If I keep going like this, I can buy a new game every month with my YouTube revenue, because I made about $40 in a month.
And continuing along the lines of obsession, one thing you need to know is that YouTube is a platform designed to get you addicted to success. As a creator, I often feel like a dog being fed.
And I was really excited about that.
YouTube every time I perform the trick it is they want to see. I mean, within the creator dashboard, they reward you with literal fireworks when one of your videos performs
so
amazing,
much, man.
Which of course leads to more views, more growth, more revenue, and it's all very addictive. And that only makes me more willing to invest time.
You may have heard of the 10 of 10 system or the 1 of 10 system in YouTube, where YouTube will always, whenever you go into your statistics, rank your videos the last 10. And if you have a really bad one, it is soul crushing. It is the most depressing thing. It's all down pointing gray arrows and sadness. There's a big message on screen that says, this video isn't performing as well. Your subscribers don't like this video. It is absolutely soul crushing. But on the other hand, when you have a great video, a 1 of 10, there's fireworks. Your video is performing better in recommendations and in your subscribers' subscription fees. Your subscribers are watching this for more than usual. This video is doing really well, and it's so good. But the epic highs and lows of high school baseball are just like the epic highs and lows of YouTube content creation. It's more depressing than hype for the most part.
I'm into it because I need that hit, you know? But it also has a very harsh come down, because when you do perform badly, not only does YouTube not reward you, but it actively punishes you. Every time I have a low performing video, I feel like, my career is over. It makes it really difficult to do things like say sleep, which I've heard is pretty important. And it also makes me really
I've also lost sleep from videos performing badly too.
Content. I know what my YouTube audience wants, so I give it to them, and I tend to avoid passion projects that could harm or even sink the channel. But again, this is where obsession comes in clutch. I am so obsessed with One Piece that I am happy to talk about anything. It really doesn't matter, because
I'm getting to that point as well.
And if I didn't have that,
I'm getting to chapter 1000.
I think always having to min-max content could be quite soul-destroying. And that's before you bring up the idea of putting yourself out there publicly. Because something you should be prepared for is the fact that some people are just going to hate you. Sometimes there's a decent reason for this, and there's some constructive criticism, but most of the time it's just going to be people saying they hate your face or your voice or anything, literally anything, whatever you can see, whatever you can hear, someone hates it. Legitimately, whatever you put out there, someone is going to have a reaction of visceral disgust to. All of which is to say,
I don't think there is a single day that goes by that I am not attacked for how I look. It's kind of strange, to be honest, that there are so many people out there on the internet that just want to spend their whole day really writing out comments, because writing out comments, it takes up like, 30 seconds, a minute. Sometimes a paragraph can take 5 minutes sometimes. And there's just people that will go out there and spend their entire day either on Twitter or in the comment section of YouTube videos just posting really nasty things. And it makes you think, if they're in that situation, man, they must be so sad. It's not like someone that is posting nasty YouTube comments all day about how someone looks is outside enjoying their lives with their friends, hanging out, having a good time. They're definitely not doing that. They're inside being very sad and trying to take out that negativity on someone else. So whenever I get comments like that, I do try to remember that at least I'm happier than they are.
Say that if you're particularly sensitive, either prepare yourself for this or maybe rethink the idea of being a YouTuber altogether, because it's very exposing and it could destroy you. I was once actually sent a death threat because of my opinions on comic book pirates. Look, it shouldn't have to be this way, but it's the sort of thing that you need to expect.
I've had a death
to quickly
threat before.
touch on business, if running your own business is something that doesn't appeal to you, then this also may not be the right career path. There's this romantic idea amongst viewers that YouTube is all about the passion, just dude in room doing his thing for the world to see. So honest, so raw. But then as soon as you start making your first cent, everything changes. Because whether you see this as a business or not, the government sees it as a business, and so you need to...
Yeah, if this wasn't a real job, I wouldn't have to pay taxes on it, eh? I wish they were right. I wish it wasn't a real job. Then good old HMRC, good old Royal Tax Fund wouldn't come after me.
Which means that you are now subject to a whole new side of law that you need to be on top on, or else you could get into some serious trouble. This is a very common story with YouTubers, especially younger ones. But the amount of people I've heard that just forgot to pay their tax on their YouTube income is...
I didn't know you had to do this. The first couple of years that I was making YouTube videos, or the first few years I was making money on YouTube videos, I didn't know I had to pay tax. I had no idea. I was like, oh God, that's a lot of money. Oh geez. I also thought that a tax write-off means that the government just got you it for free. I thought that if you was like, okay, I'm gonna buy Pokemon cards for a video, I thought the government would just pay you back for the money that you spent to get the original thing. That's what I thought tax write-off was, until I realized that I'm a moron.
Terrifyingly astonishing. And that caused them big problems because they weren't prepared to run even the most basic aspect of a business. And I'm not saying I'm amazing at this. I despise admin. I am so shit at it. And it's by far my least favorite part of this career. But this is, again, where obsession pays off. I love talking about fictional pirates so much that I am willing to sit down and just dive into my personal living hell that is admin. And then there's...
I'm like less willing to do that. That's why I don't run as many sponsors as probably I should do, and maybe I could do, because I hate the aspect of replying to emails so much that I will just turn down sponsors and like quite a lot of money just because I'm like, I really don't want to reply to an email and like record a sponsor segment sometimes. I'm kind of dumb. I should do that more.
It's kind of weird, actually. Despite the stats I showed you earlier with like the staggering amount of kids wanting to be YouTubers, the majority of society still doesn't even recognize this as a real job. I would say that when you get to talking to people,
we're getting better on that now. I think everyone does now.
Concepts, you should be prepared for some awkward discussions. A lot of times people can ask what in any other profession would be considered quite an invasive question. Stuff like, how much money do you make and how do you make? And I still don't really know how to answer that question.
I literally had this situation when I was in with my physical therapist who was like doing jujitsu, like snapping my muscles. Well, not doing jujitsu. I wasn't getting body slammed. I wasn't a chiropractor, but she was like massaging my legs and was like, so like, how do you make money on YouTube? Where do your money come from? How does that work?
I still don't really know. I tend to find that people fall into one of two camps when they discover that I'm a YouTuber. Either it's, holy crap, that's amazing, the sort of putting you up on a pedestal and worshipping the idea thing, which comes with a lot of its own problems. Or there's the other way, which is to be completely dismissive of everything you do. Because to them, it probably just
I've never had anyone be dismissive. I've genuinely never had like a random normie be a dickhead to me because I do YouTube. I can't remember a time when that's happened. People are generally pretty nice about it. They think it's cool.
With Lego on my bedroom floor for a living. And here's a good example from my real life. So I still do some theater work from time to time, and it's well past the point where I can keep my actual career a secret. As a result, it often does come up in conversation because, it's a fun novelty profession. So one time I was in between shows chatting with the group, and the question came up of, what would you do if you could no longer do YouTube? Which is a great question, actually.
Every time I get this question, I'm just like, dude, I don't know. What would you do if you got fired from your job? I'm just like, I don't really have I don't know. I guess most people are just like, find another job, I guess. That's what happens when you get fired, is you find
one that
another
I
job.
ask myself every time a video performs poorly. But before I could answer, another, slightly older member of the company interjected and said, well, he'd have to actually work. Which elicited a big group laugh that I just had to go along with. It was that.
I don't know. I think that's fine. As a joke, I think that's kind of okay. Because I'm quite self-aware, and I understand that my job isn't as hard as other people's jobs. It's not like I'm physically cutting down trees like a lumberjack. It's not like I'm programming intense systems for NASA. On the grand scheme of things, it's not as hard as most jobs. I actually think that most retail jobs and most, say, fast food jobs are more intensive and more stressful than what I do generally on a day-to-day basis. It's more so that YouTubers don't ever take breaks and we don't ever turn off. Like when you go home from McDonald's at 5 p.m., you don't think about McDonald's until the next time you go into it. Or at least you shouldn't have to, because that's dumb. You should get paid every time that you're thinking of it. When you're a YouTuber, you're always thinking about YouTube. When you lie down, when you watch TV, you're thinking about YouTube. You're thinking about what am I gonna do with this next video? How am I gonna make a joke? Why is this video not doing so good? When you go to see your parents on their birthday, you're like, oh dude, how am I gonna record this short? Should I stream more? What am I gonna do for my next stream series? I don't know how I'm gonna handle this thumbnail. It's always on your mind. It never leaves, ever.
Either that or get like very confrontational. Because I very rarely get angry in real life, but this was one of those situations where I really could have gone off. Because it was a joke, yeah, but you know, there's always truth in jokes. And I could tell that from her
I think it's a fine
perspective,
joke to make,
I
honestly.
don't work. I just sort of fuck around all day and somehow make money doing it. While she has real work to do, like a job that makes you get up in the morning and go to a place to do a task. And that's how you make a real living. And that's the sort of thing you'll have to deal with. People not considering what you do a quote real job. I don't know, you don't carry bricks or you don't enter numbers into a spreadsheet. I don't know. I don't know what a real job is.
And honestly, I think that's fine. I think that people that use that kind of humor are maybe people that are just like kind of upset with the job that they have. And I understand that I'm in a position where I do like the job that I have, and I'm very lucky to be able to enjoy the job that I have. Not to say that there aren't problems with it and there are issues, and sometimes it can get you down and it can make you upset. Generally, as a whole, it's probably something that makes you more happy and fulfilled than sitting in a desk, entering numbers into a spreadsheet, or stacking shelves in a retail job. So I'm fine with it. It's okay.
I just fuck around all day and somehow make a living whilst doing it. You know what? Leave a comment in the comment place if you have a real job and tell me what it is. I'm legitimately interested.
So as a whole, don't become a YouTuber because it might make you depressed. Oh, I wish I was kidding. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the second channel if you haven't already. I think he made some very good points there, and I think that was a great video. I like talking about the meta sometimes. Overall, I'm very lucky, but also it's very hard sometimes to be able to do this all the time, because I do it every day. I generally don't take any breaks ever. But thanks for watching. Thanks for